How do I know what a good customer is? How do I know what a bad customer is? Let's figure this out. Hey everyone, so what are we doing now? I'm heading to work. So, the question came up quite a bit, or the comment I should say, came up quite a bit. Well, how do I determine when a customer is a good customer and when a customer is a bad customer? It's actually pretty simple, trust me. You've all been to the store where you've seen that one person who's going off the deep end for absolutely no reason. And, they're at customer service, they're yelling, they're screaming. Even at a restaurant, you've seen it every once in a while. At least I have. But it's like, that person is just going bananas for whatever. And it's like something so minor. It's like, really, are you going to have a heart attack over this? And they usually will cry and complain and, bee and moan and until they get their way. It's like dealing with a toddler. They have to get their own way. I always anticipate customers are going to be great customers until they're not. And when customers come in and start, well, I shouldn't say that. When customers come in and they approve a repair, and we go over everything and I explain everything, this is what it's got to be. I'd rather people ask questions so they know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, everything else. And I try to explain that as best I can to people before getting involved in a job. I don't tell people, hey, well, this is going to be a $6,000 job to replace your transmission. Well, why is it going to be $6,000? Okay, and I'll tell you. I will not just go ahead and say, okay, well, we got an estimate for you. It's going to be $6,000. Do you want to fix it, yes or no? Well, you know what? People need to be educated as to what's going on. So I will try to break it down. I'll try to stay on the phone with them and stuff like that. What really gets my goat is when you do all of that, they've already agreed to the price. Let's just say $6,000. And I can come in a little under budget because sometimes what I'll do is I'll add into a ticket an extra 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 bucks because I know there's going to be incidentals that I run across in the process of doing a job. So they're unaware technically, or they might be, depends. Like I said, if we go over the ticket line for line or I send it to them, I'll explain it to them that, hey, this dollar amount is on there, but if I don't use it for a part, like a broken motor mount that I might not know about, a broken bolt strip, it comes off that dollar amount. So in the end, 9 times out of 10, I'm below that number. So the price is actually less than what I originally quoted. So customers that come in and are like, oh, I can't believe you're charging me this much. I can't believe this costs this much. I'm going to write you a bad review, stuff like, whoa, you already agreed to this. I already told you what this was. We already spoke about everything involved. I already, did everything I could to make this as tolerable as possible. I know auto repairs are expensive. I understand it. I get it. But those customers start to become a pain. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with you anymore. That's all, plain and simple. I don't have to fix your car. You can go elsewhere. You follow what I'm saying? I'm not the only game in town. I might, you might feel that I'm the best mechanic in town, and I appreciate that, but, there's other people out there that can do this job, so bring it elsewhere then. I don't care. We get people that just come in for oil changes and constantly nitpick every little thing. Everything. On the ticket. It's like, well, how come you have to charge so much in tax? No, we don't charge tax. We collect tax. You have a problem with that? And I can't tell you how many times that's happened. We don't charge tax. We collect it. And then you get people that are just, we had a guy, and this is kind of funny actually, this just happened recently. We had this guy, he blew the engine in his pickup truck. This is actually a year ago. So I replaced the engine. After telling him I would probably not do this because it's really exceeding the value of this pickup truck. But he wanted a rebuilt motor. Okay, we put a motor in. Guess what happened a month later? The transmission blew. So he had to do the transmission. During that time of doing the engine, Every single day. We had already told them, hey, we're going to order the engine today. You know, you approved the job. We're ordering the engine today. We probably won't see it for about 7 to 10 days. Once we get the engine, we have to get it in the shop. You know, we can't schedule it ahead of time because we don't know when we're going to get the engine. So once we have the engine in our possession, we'll schedule it in line to come into the shop. Okay, that's fine, no problem. Every single day, this guy was calling, is my truck done yet? Is my truck? We don't even have your engine yet. Why are you asking me if your truck is done? Like, seriously. But every single day. And then once the motor showed up, he would show up every single day. 2 times a day, morning and afternoon. How's it going? Is the truck done yet? How's it going? We'll let you know when the truck is done. You know, and then when it comes down to it and it's all said and done, okay, here's the final bill. I can't believe you're charging me this much. We went over this. So then when the transmission let go, he's like, I can't believe you couldn't tell me that the transmission was going to go out. Well, we don't have a crystal ball. So people like that become bad customers. We had actually, after we fixed the transmission, same thing. It was the same exact scenario after we fixed it. It's just everything was a problem. And it was an old Dakota too. Like, the truck was not worth it. You could buy a new one of those trucks or not new, but you could buy a decent used one for probably $3,500. You know, $4,000, something like that. It was a nothing special, you know, standard cab, short bed, 2-wheel drive V6. It was nothing special. And it wasn't even in really great shape either. So by the time all was said and done, between the engine and the transmission, you know, he had what, $9,000 in this thing? So he became such a pain in the neck, and he kept coming back for little things that were not our fault. You know, oh, well, I have this problem now. Ever since you did the motor, I have this problem. Well, guess what? Your blower motor not working has nothing to do with the engine. And we eventually told him, listen, I think from now on you need to find another repair shop. Well, what do you mean by that? I mean, you need to find another repair shop because we obviously can't do things to your satisfaction. So from now on, if you have any issues, you're going to have to go somewhere else. Well, fine. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. And he was mad. About 8-10 months later, he comes in and he apologizes to us. He apologizes for being the way he was. He apologizes for being grouchy. He apologized for being demanding, and stuff like that. Like, he was actually kind of a bully. I think he may have said something about that. I think his wife might have made him do it. And he was a guy about my age. So it's like, okay. And I'm like, you know, he says all of that stuff, and he didn't make an appointment or anything. Not at that time. He did a week later. So then he leaves. And I said to Robert, here's what happened. He has problems with his car, and he's tried other repair shops, and nobody else gives him the service that we give him. That's why he apologized, and he's coming back. And Robert's like, yeah, you're probably right. Sure enough, a week later, he calls up, needs to come in because he was having whatever the issue was. I think he had a coolant leak. I think it needed a radiator. But whatever, it doesn't matter. But still, that's how you have a good customer. That's the difference between a good customer and a bad customer. You know, it's like, stop hounding me. I'm telling you, I give you updates, you know, and I call people too, and I say, hey, you know, I just want to let you know this is what's going on. Like an engine shows up, a transmission shows up for their car. Hey, I want to let you know the parts showed up. We have you in rotation to get back into the shop, and then we can do the repair. It may be a day or two. You know, I do that all the time. I like to keep people updated on what's going on with their car. So there's really no reason for you to hound me constantly. Like, we have people drop the car off first thing in the morning. Oh, I'm going to leave with you. I told you about this. The guy with the tires and that. And then an hour later, well, I need my truck. Dude, really? Like, come on. So there is a difference between good customers and bad customers. I'm not telling you that a good customer has to give me a tip. I'm not telling you a good customer has to, you know, bake me brownies or buy me lunch or anything like that. And, you know, some customers do that. But good customers will be pleasant, cordial. They will, tell their family and friends about you, stuff like that. I'm not saying they have to come in and, spend thousands of dollars. They could just be coming in for oil changes. And you know what? Those people that come in just for oil changes, eventually they're going to come in for something else because they like the way we do things. They feel we're being honest. So that's great. I'm going to get ready to get on the highway here, so let me pull over for 1 second. I don't want to talk and be on the highway at the same time. So one other last thing I would just want to hit on real quick here. Talking about certifications, like ASE certifications, dealer certifications, and stuff like that. This is actually something I don't agree with here in the United States. You don't have to be certified to be a mechanic. There's no certification, no training required at all. Nothing. I was ASE certified master. I was ASE master tech certified. I started saying that wrong. I have actually let that slip because, you know what? The problem that I have with those types of certifications is you could be really good at taking a test and not be able to fix anything. For a very short period of time when I first got into the dealer world, I worked at another dealer for 1 year before I switched to the other dealer. And when I worked at that one dealer for the 1 year, it's my first ever dealer experience. So I got there to the dealer and I lucked out and I wound up, what they have, they had 10 bays up top. It was a 3-story shop. There was 10 bays up on the main floor, and I wound up luckily enough to be on the main floor. There was 10 bays on top. There was 5 bays below, and I think there was 3 bays up top. But I wound up on the main floor, luckily enough. And I had a great spot. I had an excellent spot. I was very happy about the spot that they put me in. Guy next to me winds up leaving for whatever reason. And so the bay is open for like a week or so. They had nobody to take his place. So then all of a sudden I hear, oh, they're hiring Superman. What? Yeah, this guy's ASE certified in everything. He's a master tech. He's L1, L2. Those are like the higher up, like how to diagnose stuff. He's diesel certified. He's bus certified. He's this, that, the other thing. This guy comes walking in for the first time when I ever saw him, and it's like watching I don't know, who was it? Randy Savage crossed with like a NASCAR driver walking into the shop. He had on his work jacket with every single patch from ASE on it, all over the place. And, almost like everybody's supposed to bow down to this guy. And he was older than I was. He was, let's see, I was 27, 28, something like that. So he was probably 40. So, like I said, I was way green being at a dealership. But I had my own shop for a period of time. I told you about that. So this guy comes walking in. All right, he's right next to me. He comes in with this gigantic toolbox. He couldn't fix anything. He literally could not fix anything. I watched him with a relatively new Jeep Cherokee at the time. I guess I call those the XJs, the rear-wheel drive ones. He comes in with one of those, and he's working on the thing for like 4 days. He winds up rebuilding the transfer case. He winds up, he rebuilds the transfer case. He changed the motor mounts. He changed the rear springs. He changed the rear differential. He put all new brakes on it. And finally I said to him, I go, Dom, what's going on with this truck? He goes, I can't figure this out. It's got this thump in it. He goes, but it's only when you let go of the brakes. He goes, but you kind of feel it through the floor. Okay. Take me for a ride. Let me see what it's doing. He goes, well, we can do it right in the parking lot. So we go out in the parking lot, and we move forward and hit the brakes, and the vehicle comes to a stop. Now, when it comes to a stop, it doesn't settle completely like you may think it does. Once he lets go of the brake, but not every time, once he lets go of the brake, it would go thunk, and you'd feel it, like the whole car go thunk. If it didn't do it then, as soon as you touched the gas, it would go thunk. So I said, you got a bad yoke on the drive shaft. What? You got a bad yoke on the drive shaft. I said, didn't you rebuild the transfer case? Yeah. Did you replace the output bushing? Well, no. Okay, you need a yoke and you need an output bushing. Here I am, absolutely green. I'm telling this guy what to do. He lasted about 6 months, and they realized they couldn't give him anything more but oil changes and brakes. He was terrible, absolutely terrible. So ASE certifications, while yes, they can show the person's ability to think about something and take a test, they're not a good indication of, hey, can this person actually fix something? I don't agree with ASE testing in the manner that it's done. It's just a, multiple choice. Okay, what sounds best? This sounds best. Okay, you got a correct answer. Doesn't mean you can fix anything. Now, guys that go to like trade schools and stuff like that to learn the craft, I agree with that. But I believe that there should be some kind of a certification, like where you go, like for New York State Inspector, for instance, or even North Carolina State Inspector, you have to go to a class and you have to discuss what's going on and stuff like that. So I think that there should be like a 3-day mandatory class for like basics, or even like a 5-day to get a certification saying that you are certified to do brakes, alignments, stuff like that. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I believe it's true. Why should anybody be able to touch your car? Joe Blow, who knows absolutely nothing about cars, he's allowed to fix cars. He's allowed to go in, and if he's got tools, he's allowed to go in and he's allowed to work on cars. I personally don't want that. I'd rather have somebody that came from a dealership that actually has experience working on a car. So there again, like I said, certifications, as far as I'm concerned, in that manner mean nothing. It just means you know how to take a test. If you have certifications from dealerships, that means you actually went to class. That's the difference here. Anyway, that's about it. Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, guys, I got to get up on a highway here. Have a great day and keep wrenching.